When you're old and alone, do these 4 things to stay happy, healthy and strong. Growing old is a gift, but not without its quiet challenges. One of the hardest. Loneliness. Not the kind that comes from being alone for a moment, but the deep ache of missing someone, of silence, that stretches through the day. This is the story of Mr. Harold Bennett, a retired librarian from Yorkshire, who found himself suddenly alone at the age of 76. The empty house. Harold had been married for 48 years. His wife, Margaret, passed away just before their golden anniversary. His children had long moved abroad, and the house that once echoed with laughter now whispered only silence. For weeks, Harold did nothing but sit, tea, telly, bed, repeat. His health began to slip. His mind felt foggy. But one morning, something changed. He remembered what Margaret always said: "We don't stop living just because the room is quieter." And so, he decided to try just 4 things. 4 simple habits that would change everything. When you're old and alone, do these 4 things to stay happy, healthy and strong. Growing old is a gift, but not without its quiet challenges. One of the hardest. Loneliness. Not the kind that comes from being alone for a moment, but the deep ache of missing someone, of silence, that stretches through the day. This is the story of Mr. Harold Bennett, a retired librarian from Yorkshire, who found himself suddenly alone at the age of 76. The empty house. Decision to walk. Movement is life. The first thing Harold did was walk, not miles, just to the corner shop and back. At first, it felt pointless, but with each walk, his body loosened, and his spirits lifted. Doctors say just 30 minutes of walking a day can reduce the risk of heart disease, improve balance, and even sharpen the mind. More than that, it got him outside. Birds, wind, people passing by. Harold noticed the world hadn't left him behind. He had just stepped away from it. Scene 3. Talking to strangers. The healing power of conversation. One day, Harold smiled at the postman. The next day, he said hello. Eventually, they started chatting. The weather, old football matches, the price of biscuits. He started going to the cafe on Wednesdays. At first, he sat alone. Then someone asked to share the table. They chatted. She came every week too. Loneliness doesn't always need grand friendships. Sometimes, it's just being seen. Studies have shown that even short, regular conversations can reduce depression and boost brain health in older adults. When you're old and alone, do these 4 things to stay happy, healthy and strong. Growing old is a gift, but not without its quiet challenges. One of the hardest. Loneliness. Not the kind that comes from being alone for a moment, but the deep ache of missing someone, of silence, that stretches through the day. This is the story of Mr. Harold Bennett, a retired librarian from Yorkshire, who found himself suddenly alone at the age of 76. The empty house. Decision to walk. Movement is life. Scene 4. Feeding the mind. Stay curious, stay strong. Harold was a librarian, but he hadn't read a proper book in months. One rainy evening, he opened a book on World War II aviation. He stayed up past midnight reading. He started doing the crossword again. Watched documentaries. Tried learning to use a tablet. The mind, like a muscle, weakens without use. Neuroscientists say mentally stimulating activities help delay or prevent dementia. And Harold. He felt like his old self again, curious, engaged, alive. Scene 5. Giving back. The joy of purpose. The last thing Harold did was perhaps the most important. He gave back. Once a week, he volunteered at the local charity shop. Not because he had to, because he wanted to feel needed again. Helping others brought him laughter, new friends, and a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Psychologists have long said that having purpose, no matter how small, boosts both mental and physical health, especially in later years. Scene 6. The new routine. Harold's quiet transformation. It didn't happen overnight, but over months, Harold changed. He was still alone, but no longer lonely. His days had shape, his steps had strength, and in his heart, there was peace. If this video helped you even a little, then please, support us by hitting the subscribe button, and don't forget to press the bell icon, so you never miss our next life-changing video. We're here to grow stronger, together. Let's walk this journey of health and hope, side by side. Harold writing a letter to his grandson. Dear Oliver, when you grow old, and it happens quicker than you think, remember, walk, talk, think, give. It's how I found joy again. Love, Grandpa. Final message. Growing old doesn't mean fading away. If you're in your 70s, 80s, or beyond, if the silence in your home feels heavy, do what Harold did. Walk a little, talk to someone, feed your mind, and give what you can. You'll be surprised at the strength still within you. feeling alone in old age. Do these for powerful things to reclaim your life. Getting older isn't the hard part. It's when the house gets quieter, the calls stop coming, and you suddenly realize you're not needed the way you once were. This is the story of Mr. Albert Green, an 80-year-old retired carpenter from Manchester, who found himself drowning in silence after losing his beloved wife. But what Albert did next, it changed his life, and it might just change yours. Scene 1. The turning point. Silence is loud. Albert lost Mary, his wife of 52 years, one cold December night. For weeks, he didn't leave his bed. Meals were skipped. Curtains stayed drawn. Time blurred. One morning, while looking out the window, he whispered to himself, "I'm still here. I have to do something with that." That day, Albert wrote down 4 promises to himself, 4 small changes that brought him back to life. Pound 1. Move the body, move the spirit. Albert started with a simple goal: walk to the corner shop every morning. No pressure, no targets, just movement. Within 2 weeks, he noticed he slept better, his appetite returned, and strangely the world looked brighter. Science says, just 20-30 minutes of gentle walking boosts heart health, mood, and reduces risk of dementia. But Albert, he just wanted to feel human again. Pound 2. Connect, even briefly. At first, Albert didn't want to talk to anyone, but he forced himself to smile at a stranger. Next day, he asked the shopkeeper how her mom was doing. Then he met Roy, an ex-postman who came to the park every Thursday. Little by little, the wall of silence cracked. Experts say, even micro-interactions, a 2-minute chat, a shared laugh, can reduce depression in older adults. Albert didn't make dozens of friends. He made a few real ones, and that was enough. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video, drop a 1 in the comments. We'd love to know you're with us. Pound 3. Feed the mind, daily. At 80, Albert believed his brain was past its prime until he started doing crossword puzzles. Then he read about World War I again. Then, at his grandson's request, he downloaded an audiobook app. A curious thing happened. He started smiling more. He had things to look forward to again. Doctors explain, mental stimulation, reading, learning, puzzles, helps slow memory loss and boosts emotional well-being. Albert didn't just pass time anymore. He used it. Pound 4. Find someone who needs you. The hardest part of loneliness, feeling useless. So Albert joined a local community garden. He watered plants, taught kids how to hammer nails into old planks. He even helped a young lad build a birdhouse. He laughed again. Studies prove, having a purpose, even small, reduces anxiety, boosts immunity, and extends life expectancy. Albert didn't volunteer to stay busy. He did it to feel alive. 6. Albert today, still here, still living. It's been 2 years. Albert still lives alone, but he isn't lonely. His steps are slower, but stronger. His days are quieter, but meaningful. And in his journal, he once wrote, "I thought life was over when she left, but it was just a new chapter waiting to be written." If you're in your 70s, 80s, even your 90s, and you're feeling alone, forgotten, or invisible, do what Albert did. Move a little, speak to someone, feed your mind, give a little of yourself, because your life still matters. And it's never too late to feel joy again. You're not alone. You're still needed. You're still capable of joy. Still watching till the end. That means you're serious about getting stronger. Show us you're part of this journey. Drop a 5 in the comments if you're ready to take action.